Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Getty Talk, where prominent speakers and educators present their views. I'm Anisha, your host for today from Getty. Global Education and Training Institute is a leading teachers training institute in India. Great leaders don't set out to be a leader, they set out to make a difference. It's never about the role, it's always about the goal. Our today's speaker, Miss Anaya Wagle from Mumbai, is talking about inclusive leadership. She has vast experience in education sector. She has worked as headmistress, academic trainer. Now she is a certified life coach and trainer pan India. A warm welcome to Anaya on the Getty Forum.
Thank you, Anisha. Thank you for such a lovely welcome. And it was rightly said, it's just about the goal. We really need to focus on the goal. And apart from the goal, there are a lot of aspects. Even in this pandemic, we really need to have constant change in our approach towards life, and so is the leadership. So yes, my today's topic is inclusive leadership, and I would like to share the visuals also with you along with what I speak. May I?
Yeah, please, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We can see the
Yes.
slide.
Yeah,
Yes.
just a minute. All right, good evening. So let's get going. Today's topic is inclusive leadership. Why did I select this particular topic? There's a whole lot of reason behind this. When I started off as a leader 10 to 12 years ago, my leadership style was only about a very old school type of a leadership where I was actually missing on the emotional connect with the teachers. So I was selected on the basis of the kind of work I was delegating and also the quality of the work that used to come out of it. I realized that I was actually missing on the emotional connect. I was learning from my experiences, and I started processing and transformating, upgrading my style of leading because somewhere, though the work was getting done, I used to feel the people were really not happy. So, if the people are happy, then only the entire organization can benefit overall. Yes, the world is changing continuously, and so are the people. We really need to upskill and upgrade ourselves continuously. That's the reason I selected this topic: inclusive leadership. Inclusive benefits everyone. Let's proceed further. Now, if you look at this picture, what do you see? This represents our organization, and the straw represents the people in the organization. Yes, when you see this, it represents the organization and the people in the organization. So, inclusion is the fundamental of our existence. All human beings want to be a part of the group, of the tribe, in order to feel happy and in order to live longer, isn't it? Similarly, in the organization, what makes people feel included is they are being treated fairly, is they are being treated respectfully, they are the part of vision and mission, and definitely the policy. Imagine there is a situation all of a sudden and it is little threatening. Like in the current scenario, when we have this pandemic situation, everyone has this fear of losing their job, right? When you have this fear of losing their job, the performance also decreases, right? Because it's a threatening situation. What do we do with it? Either we fight, either we flight, or we freeze, right? So, when you talk about neuroscience, why do we react in such a manner? Amygdala is the portion of the brain that starts responding when a person faces a threatening situation. Another part of the brain is the prefrontal cortex. That is the center of thinking and reasoning. So, instead of moving away from the situation, instead of freezing, it's very important to think rationally. It is very important to analyze the situation, interpret the information, and deal with the situation. So that's the reason it's a leader's role now to get all people together, to keep them bonded, to make them feel safe, to make them feel secure, and definitely it affects the organization in a very positive way, right? So yes, if the people feel safe, they feel collaborated, yes, they feel connected, and definitely they are more creative because they have a lot of inputs to give to the organization and work towards the common goal. Okay, why inclusion and what is exclusion? When we talk about the prefrontal cortex analyze certain situations and they ask certain questions in order to make the person feel included or excluded. So let us look into what kind of questions we ask ourselves or the brain asks ourselves in order to feel a part of it and secure or to feel excluded and insecure. One is the status. The person feels, am I a part of the organization? Am I being respected and valued? So this is the kind of question that comes to a person's mind, especially during situations like what we are facing currently. Apart from that certainty, is my position in the organization certain? Am I in the loop? Yes. Fairness. Am I being treated fairly? Do I get the credit and the opportunities just the way the others do? And the next is autonomy. Do people trust me? Am I given choices? And can I control the situation? Yes. And the last one is relatedness. Am I a part of the policy's vision and mission? So these are the kind of questions a brain will ask you in order to feel included and excluded. If the person is feeling included, the person will definitely give 100%. But if the person is feeling excluded, the person will not perform up to the mark and the organization will suffer. Now, leaders are the driving force, they are the facilitators. But mostly, what happens in 70% of the cases, what the leaders say and do affects the person overall, right? It affects the person's overall and the performance of the people overall. So, in short, inclusion happens when people's need for individuality, that is uniqueness, and their need for connection, that is belongingness, is met. Inclusion also happens when you value both the differences and commonalities of others, right? So, inclusive leaders drive the organization growth in the 21st century. And how do they drive the organization growth? Is the biggest challenge is they have to create growth. That is their work. They have to create growth. In order to create growth, they have to differentiate as to what the different kind of goals each and every person will be performing in the organization, how they will be empowering each and every team member in the organization to perform a particular task. To differentiate, they need innovative ideas. If they want innovative ideas, they need to get diverse. They need to get people on table, different kind of people on table, wherein each one's idea is respected. And to achieve the diversity, you need to include everyone's idea. To manage all this, definitely you need to have this inclusive leadership style. According to research, diversified team performs much better than the homogeneous team. Now I'll go to the next slide. My way to our way. Yes. So it's not about leader dominated organization anymore. It is the people driven organization. The leader has the IQ. The leader has to tap on the emotional quotient as well. The leader has to understand his or her emotions and the emotions of others to get the best in the others, to get the best from the others. I'm so sorry. And the next is cultural intelligence. The next is the cultural intelligence. Now, good leaders needs all of this in order to lead the way effectively.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, your voice is echoing.
all right. Just
If your mobile is on, if you can.
All right, all right.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I kept it aside. Yeah. So is it fine now? Is it fine? Okay. So inclusive leaders need to have the IQ, the hard skills, the EQ, that is the soft skills, and definitely a cultural intelligence quotient as well. There are four strategies to overcome any kind of differences in the organization. One is a high CQ driven. The leader has to be high CQ driven, wherein they have to have this intrinsic drive of understanding individual differences, individual cultural differences, individual religious differences, and how does it affects their decision making in the organization. Second is high CQ strategy. They have to be mindful of what they say, to whom they say, and how do they say it to avoid any kind of differences. Then they need high CQ action. They have to adapt to the behavior. Before the action, they need to have high CQ knowledge. They have to have the factual information of each and every diversified culture. And finally, they should have the high CQ action. They have to adapt their behavior to different cultural contexts. Changing perception from my way to our way will increase productivity. What do you see? You see a leader who is steering a ship, and you can see a lot of people behind helping the leader to reach a particular goal. Now, leader is the captain of a ship. The leader cannot be doing everyone's job. He cannot be welcoming people on board. He cannot be taking care of customers alone. He cannot be working into the system personally to see whether the system is working uh, daily. And also, he also needs to take care of everyone's role is equally distributed. The job of a leader is to involve the right kind of people in the right kind of job and ensure that they are motivated and check if the system is in place. Is there any kind of questions right now? Any kind of questions? Okay, so I move ahead. According to a research, characteristics of a best leader is not about personality, but what you do. It's now a shift from a trait theory. It's definitely not about personality anymore. It is more about transitional theory. It's what do they do really matters. Now, an action-centered leader will definitely have plans in hand. They would definitely know that they have an objective to work on. They have certain plans to work on. They have to brief their team. They have to support and monitor and control the team, and finally evaluate to where have they have reached. At the same time, they need to consider the holistic approach wherein it's just not the task what they're delivering. They have to take care of the team, and also individual the needs of the individual is taken care of. So if you see the objective, what are we going to do? Even if they identify the task, they have to see to it that the complete team is involved in it. And even if the complete team is involved in it, each and every person's objective is clarified. When we go to planning, they need to check in the resources, whether they have the right kind of resources, make certain decisions, set certain standards. And if yes, they also have to consult the team regarding it. They have to encourage their ideas and actions as well. If the team has the best of inputs, if the team has best to give on this particular task, they will encourage those ideas and actions. And of course, they will individually involve people into the action by delegating the kind of work. Similarly, if you see briefing, it's all about briefing the team. They have to ask questions, take feedback, listen, and see to it that the individual are actively involved in the process. They also have to support and monitor and control. So they at the time have to be a coach. At times they have to reassure. Most of the time, individually people feel demotivated. So they have to use certain strategies to motivate their people. and finally evaluate the task, the team, and the individual performances. It's very important for a leader to follow each framework. What is each framework? Each is all about empower people to do the right kind of work, to get various ideas on the table and to select the best ideas, praise people accordingly. They have to make people feel accountable. They have to instill the kind of responsibility in the people and give them opportunity to explore and be creative. They should have the courage to take their feedbacks from them. If they can easily talk to the people and tell them, okay, what do you feel about this kind of a task? Do you think what I feel right now about this task, is it right? So they should have the courage to take the feedback about their own self. At the same time, humility is to learn from people. It's not about I know it all. It's all about, yes, I need to learn it from you as well. That's the reason. That's how the leader will encourage ideas. There's a great quote by Lazo Block, who is the ex chief talent officer at Google, and the quote says this: because what's critical to being an effective leader in this environment is that you have to be willing to relinquish power, give away the power, and it's not just humility in creating space for others or contributing, says Block, it's an intellectual humility. So when he talks about intellectual humility, we will talk about what intellectual humility is all about. Now, the leaders are aware of their blind spots. They need to be aware of their ego, their personal agendas. They have to be aware of their mistakes. You know, these small things, their egos, their personal agendas, uh, at times affects the decision to such an extent that it completely affects the organization in a very negative way. The decisions are taken very negatively. So, an intellectual humility means they have respect for others' viewpoint, lack of intellectual confidence. They separate the ego and intellect, and their willingness to they have this willingness to revise their viewpoint. So it's just not that I know it all. If they feel that somewhere it's not going to work, their viewpoint is not going to work, and the other person has a better viewpoint, they are not overconfident about what they think. They shed their egos at a particular level and they try to revise on their viewpoints. So, this is a small demonstration of what intellectual humility is all about. Sometimes we become very stubborn and we don't want to change. Especially, we do feel frustrated at times when you know the other person is wrong, but they don't want to change, right? And even ourselves, at times, we don't want to change because it's like, what will people think? You don't want to feel that psychological pain of being wrong. So, yes, morally intellectual leader will be aware of all these aspects and will be willing to change. There is another core and flex theory about a human behavior, where the core is our baseline values, our habits, and identity, which is that is basically our strength, right? So we have certain cultural values, our ideologies, our principles, our certain habits, which we don't want to give away. And what is a flex? Flex is something, a basic attitude which you feel is not right, where you are all willing to change this for this organization. So, core being your base and flex being is to do away with your negative attitude, and that becomes your strength. So, core again is the value, habit, and identity which is reflected in our behavior. And flex is an attitude that needs to be changed. The person or the leader needs to be well aware of this. The leader also needs to check on the system. The leader needs to understand whether the people are working towards the goal. So, how do a leader checks into the system? One is they try building connect. They need to build connect between every member of the organization. every department of the organization. They should know each and every person in the organization, the way the people function. So the best part is to take a walk. Every day, the leader should be taking a walk in the organization. While the leader is taking a walk, I'm sorry, I'm a teacher, so yes, while the leader is taking a walk, the leader should enhance the communication skills. They should talk to the employees as to what they are doing right now, what are they going to do next, how are they achieving that particular goal. So communication really helps a leader to understand what is actually happening in the organization, and in case if the plan needs to be reworked, at times they have to go back to the floor. Now, why back to the floor? Sometimes a leader should get involved. It's not always. Remember, it's not always. Sometimes, once a while, the leader should get involved in the kind of activity. Say, supposing academic leader, she should get into teaching. She should understand the pain area of a teacher, as to what exactly the teacher goes through while she's teaching a particular subject. So here the leader will be able to make a decision whether any kind of resources is needed to enhance that particular area of teaching learning. And finally, the leader has to give them the right kind of feedback. Also, troop meetings. They have to take a troop meeting when the entire organization comes together as one. So here, each one takes a pride in being a part of the organization. So here, you build the connection through communication and keeping people intact. At times, when I said I had discussed this previously, people do feel low in the organization. So it is the leader's job to encourage them, to motivate them, and to talk to them personally. So in case if you come across people saying, "Oh, I'm being treated unfairly. I'm not being shown respect. I'm not being appreciated," feeling you are not listened to or heard, feeling pressurized by unrealistic expectations. So here the leader cannot start blaming himself or herself. Rather, the leader should get down and talk to the person and ask certain questions. Are you sure that's how you feel? Could you have misunderstood the situation? Are there any alternative explanation that might be worth considering? Could you be jumping to the conclusion? Will it necessarily turn out that particular way, the way you are thinking? And a whole lot of question which will change the perception from the individual's perception from a negative to positive. So it is very important at this time, where definitely when the people are feeling low, they are working remotely from their houses. So how a leader can show up and work with the person on a very emotional content. The leader has to be ethically right. I'm sure everyone would know this, the right thing. I'm sure everyone would know this. We
Hello.
talk about the vertical axis. The vertical axis is your prefrontal cortex, wherein your mind decides and thinks rationally. And the horizontal is the heart, the and the place where all the emotional decisions are being taken. The leader has to give some emotional touch when they take any kind of decision for the organization or for the individual. So basically, when you see this right thing for the right reason, that is where leaders should be, working with the individual, balancing the head and the mind together. I'm sure everyone would know about this Maslow theory. The leader plays a very important role again. I mean, it's very self explanatory. A person feels secured in any organization when their physiological needs are met, when they feel safety, when they feel safe in the environment, when they feel loved and belonged in the environment, when their self esteem is met, right? And that's the point when they will give their 100% in the organization. So this is how Maslow has explained, and this is true for any kind of individual. It's not only in the corporate; it's also right from childhood. When the child is born, he first looks out for his physiological need, whether the physiological need is met. Then he looks into the safety. Am I safe and secure in the environment? The child needs love, love, and needs to belong to a particular needs to feel belonged, right? Then the child needs to feel good about what he or she is doing, and definitely that will improve the child's confidence to a level where the child is more creative, more confident, and more exploring. How to strengthen the inclusive leadership at the time of crisis? I think we have covered most of the point. Create a culture of care and connect. We need to empathize with the people and the situation. Consistently moral inclusive behavior. Keep diversity and inclusion on your team agenda. Reinforce connection and keep team members connected. Allow everyone to participate and keep regular check ins. As per the research, there are six signature traits of an inclusive leader: visible commitment, humility. The leader has to be aware of his biases. This is just the recap of what I have done. Curiosity about others, cultural intelligence. This is how it looks like. The inclusive leadership compass. This is how it looks like. So if you see the pink side of the matrix, you will see the person understands him or herself. When you see the orange side, the complete orange part, where the the leader wants others to be completely empowered. When you see the green side, here he needs to enable the team, he needs to facilitate the team, he needs to provide them with psychological safety. So this is how he's going to really work in order to reach the organizational goals. That is, he needs to work, he needs to be flexible with his work. His vision and mission has to be clear. He needs to make people feel accountable, and so on so forth. So this is how an inclusive leader compass looks like. Life is very simple. It is we who complicate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Anaya, it was a very beneficial, informative a session for all of us. Now, I have few questions. If you want to
Sure.
answer it now, or that you were a headmistress for quite a long time.
Yes.
So, how you have inculcated all this in your daily routine? Some message
So
for all the principals on this forum.
like I said, I started off as a leadership. I was a leader 10 to 12 years. I took this leadership position 10 to 12 years ago. It was a very tough journey for me, wherein yes, I was a very delegating. My leadership style was very delegating because I was being promoted based on the quality of work I used to give the organization. I started realizing that no, I am lacking that kind of emotional connect with the people. I started learning from my experiences. I started building connection with my team. That's when I realized that my team is equally happy with me. And I underwent a lot of leadership courses as well to upgrade my skill. And yes, I am here.
Okay. Now, what suggestions you want to give to the teachers for the better classroom management? How they can be a good leader when they are in the class?
See, children need connection with the teacher. So it's only when the teacher can build that connection, the emotional connection with the children they listen to the teacher. If the teacher does not build, again, like I said, emotional connection is very important. The moment children realize that the teacher understands them, the children will automatically listen to the teacher more than a parent. So
Okay.
yes, an emotional connect really works wonders for any kind of classroom management, and the children will
True.
listen to you.
True. True. Very true. Now, as we all know that this young generation is the leader for tomorrow. So, what they should do to be more confident and to have those qualities in them. So, what we can do as a teacher from very early age to inculcate these leadership qualities in them.
The teachers need to start giving responsibility to the children right from the childhood age. Like, if the teacher wants to distribute the book, the teacher should be allowing the children to, each and every child needs to get this opportunity of working with the teacher. They take pride in this, and that's how the teacher can inculcate the leadership quality in the child right from young age. Apart from that, the teacher can keep guiding the children. If there is any kind of situation, the teacher can guide the children that how can you think right now. At the moment, right now you're thinking emotionally, so when the children grow older, so they definitely want to share a lot of things with their teachers. So how will you think emotionally, and if you're thinking in this aspect, what do you think will be the repercussions? So make the child feel, and feel for what they are going to give. I mean, analyze their own behavior basically. So that will really help the children.
Sure, definitely a very informative session, Anaya. I'm sure our viewers must have benefited with the talk. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time and coming on our Getty forum. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Pleasure all mine.
Thank you so much.